Welcome to this part 2 of my US Patriot Act video. In this follow-up session we are covering in more details the US Patriot Act sections that are more relevant to financial institutions that are operating under the US jurisdiction. So let's jump right into today's video. Hi and welcome to FinCrime Agent, my YouTube channel where every week I publish a new video to boost your awareness about anti-money laundering and financial crime prevention. As promised, in this second part of the video I'm going into the details of the US Patriot Act sections that were already mentioned in video number 1. So let's start by covering section 311. Section 311. Special measures for jurisdictions, financial institutions or international transactions of primary money laundering concern. This section outlines the importance to identify customers using correspondent accounts as well as the prohibition for the creation of correspondent or payable through accounts for a foreign financial institution in the United States. Then we have Section 312, Special Due Diligence for Correspondent Accounts and Private Banking Accounts. Section 312 changes the Bank Secrecy Act by requiring U.S. financial institutions that hold correspondent accounts for foreign financial institutions or private banking accounts for non-U.S. people to comply with the due diligence and enhanced due diligence standards. Let's move to Section 313, Prohibition on U.S. correspondent accounts with foreign shell banks. To prohibit foreign shell banks from having access to the U.S. financial system, which are often unregulated and seen to create an excessive threat of being involved in money laundering or terrorist funding, any foreign banks that does not have a physical presence in any nation is restricted from maintaining correspondent accounts with banks and broker-dealers. They must also take precautionary measures to guarantee that their correspondent accounts are not utilized to offer indirect correspondent services to these institutions. Section 314, Cooperative Effort to Deter Money Laundering. Section 314 encourages law enforcement regulators and financial institutions to communicate information on people suspected of being engaged in terrorism or money laundering. These sections of the US Patriot Act essentially aims to make easier the cooperation across the industry and as a result is further helping law enforcement detect, disrupt and prevent terrorist acts and money laundering. Section 319B, Bank Records related to anti-money laundering programs. This section is to assist the government in seizing illicit funds of individuals and entities residing in foreign countries. The Attorney General or the Secretary of the Treasury is authorized to issue a court order or a subpoena to any foreign financial institutions that maintain a correspondent account in the United States for records related to such accounts, including records outside of the United States relating to the deposit of funds into the foreign bank. Section 325, Concentration Accounts at Financial Institutions. This section allows the Secretary of the Treasury to adopt rules controlling how financial institutions are using concentration accounts in order to guarantee that such accounts are not used to conceal the identity of the client who is the direct or beneficial owner of the monies being transferred through these accounts. Section 326, Verification of Identification. This section includes the definition of basic criteria that financial institutions should consider when completing customer identification during their KYC phase. Section 351, Amendments relating to reporting of suspicious activities. You probably know already about the importance and actually the legal requirement of not tipping off customers during an AML investigation. So this is the relevant part under the US Patriot Act covering that. Section 351 in fact extends the protection from prosecution for reporting suspicious activity and broadens the restriction on notifying a person on SAR filings. So no officer or employee of a federal, state, local, tribal or territorial government in the United States who has knowledge that such suspicious activity report was made can disclose to any person involved in the transaction that it has been reported. The section, of course, excludes those with the necessary knowledge to carry out officers or employee officials' duties. Section 352, Anti-Money Laundering Programs. Financial institutions must implement anti-money laundering measures that include, at the minimum, the adoption of international policies, procedures and controls, the identification of a compliance officer, an ongoing staff training program, and an independent audit function to test the AML programs. I've published already a few weeks ago a video which was dedicated on the key pillars of an AML compliance program, so if you missed it, I'm gonna leave a link of this right above. Section 359, Reporting of Suspicious Activities by Underground Banking Systems. This amendment to the Bank Secrecy Act definition of money transmitter ensures that informal underground banking networks are also classified as financial institutions, making them subject to the Bank Secrecy Act rules. Section 362, which is also the last one I'm going to cover today, is the establishment of highly secure network. FinCEN must develop a highly secure network to ease and enhance communication between FinCEN and financial institutions in order for financial institutions to submit Bank Secrecy Act reports electronically and for FinCEN to issue warnings. And that was the last section I wanted to highlight. If you are finding valuable my content, press the thumb up on this video and leave a comment. Of course, do keep in mind that this was just a selection of the entire US Patriot Act. To read the US Patriot Act in full, check the video description where you can find a link to it, as well as you will see there a link to my Patreon page to support the development of my FinCrime Agent project, and you can grab there also a copy of the slides that are presented in my videos. And lastly, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and until next time, see you soon.